Hello, and welcome to the Late Challenge. Welcome to our show, live from Material Studios in Liverpool. We are recording this show, the 66th instalment of the Late Challenge, followed by our show for subscribers, the 54th of those. So if you want to support us, do consider signing up to Patreon from as little as £1 a week, and that gets you that extra show, plus access to all of our archive too. And if you just want to be nice and help us pay all the bills, you can throw in via a super chat if you're watching on the live video, or you can go to buymeacoffee.com/the Late Challenge, and you can throw in whatever you like there. And of course, not everything is about money. Do also click subscribe on YouTube and click like on our videos, because all of those things help too. Someone there in the comments has come straight in calling the show the Early Challenge. See what they've done there? Oh, yeah. It is early. It is bank holiday, so we thought we'd get going earlier than usual, get it done and get out there in the sunshine, although there's not much of that today. Nice one, the weather. Anyway, Liverpool 4, Tottenham Hotspur 2. This was the Reds' 37th win of the season in all competitions. It took the Reds to 78 points in the league, and of course Champions League football is confirmed for next season, with Liverpool finishing at worst third in the league. We did have an eternal optimist on our Twitter, so shout to him. The eternal optimist will still point to that there is a mathematical chance of Liverpool winning the league. All the best with that one, lads. 750 to 1 if you think City and Arsenal will lose all their games between now and the end of the season, the Reds win theirs. But on a more serious point, the context though, the reason I've said 37 wins, I'm not just trying to sort of PR the season here, but we've got better, haven't we? Do you know what I mean? And I think we could all sort of do with remembering that. So Liverpool only won 26 matches last season, all comps, 37 this season. Wanted to mention as well that 26 matches last season, that is more than Everton have managed, combining last season's 9 wins all season, all comps, and this season 16 all comps. So just saying, lads. And also, I'm more than happy to accept that you're going to bask in your derby winning son, lads. But singing Hardly Touch the Ball, as in our song, they're now singing it.
Really?
We had 75% possession. I mean, come on, lads. Let's do the facts, eh?
Think of your own fucking songs as well.
You won on its sound, but you did not have all the ball. And another context from our mate Andrew Beasley, the weekly shout out for bass tune to Red. He said yesterday's win means Liverpool will finish with better than 2 points per game for the 4th time in 6 seasons. They've done this 4 times in 20 seasons prior to Jurgen Klopp. So again, another indicator that, all isn't perfect, but all isn't disaster either. The game itself then, we had a Mo Salah header, a Mo Salah assist. We had back-to-back Andy Robbo goals, and this one was with his right foot. We had a Harvey Elliott screamer and an assist. We had Gakpo scoring and assisting and playing well again. It was great for an hour or so, but as Klopp said afterwards, we were really, really, really good until we were really rubbish. It ended up being 4-2, of course. It got quite tense, though. It was quite tense in the ground. People were getting a bit edgy. Alisson had to make a couple of saves like he seemingly always does. And we didn't enjoy, of course, that Blair who used to play for them scoring a goal and getting to strut around the gaff. But I wanted to start with Mo Salah. He picks him. Mo Salah plays well. Mo Salah scores a goal. That nonsense seems to be over and done with now, doesn't it? There's no fire. There's no spat. The manager spoke well about him afterwards. Said he played well. Said he was exceptional. I think was the word he used. So yeah, a week is a long time in football and all that. That's that done.
Yeah, it's potentially something else we're going to really miss, isn't it? And subject to the new fella coming in and being just as good at handling this stuff as Klopp. But if you compare it to, as I like to do recently, because they're a shit show, compare it to our mates down the M62 and the amount of incidents Ten Hag's dealt with at United and how long they've gone on for and how they've blown up out of all proportion and stuff. If you think about like the facts of what's happened here, forgetting like the way the news covers it 24/7. Him and Salah had a bit of a spat on the touchline for like 5 seconds, sorted it out after the game, and in their world, it was done. Like that wasn't a thing. Do you know what I mean?
Salah continued it though, didn't he? Saying
well,
that
after the game, yeah. But I mean, like, you know, once they've got to the training pitch on Monday, I saw Klopp. I think it was in his pre-match press conference, said, "If we hadn't known each other for 7 years, maybe it would have been a problem, but we have." And it's like anything, isn't it?
Do you reckon it was like, what do you reckon it was like? You know, wouldn't it be worse to have been there? Like, do you reckon it was like, come on, bring it in?
No, I don't. Come on. That's not. I reckon Klopp's fucking sorted your face out now, have you?
One of them, yeah.
Yeah. And look, I saw a clip yesterday. Haaland was fucking furious getting taken off, wasn't he? Like the other way around. And these things happen with elite footballers and elite managers. And at the end of the day, they respect each other. They box it off. It goes away. And that's a perfect example of another thing that Klopp's been brilliant at, which hopefully we won't miss because, as I say, the new guy will be good at it as well. But it's something we could miss because when has there ever been anything that's blown out of proportion with him? He just boxes it, doesn't he? It's like, it's not an issue. Like, it's not that big a deal. He could have, think about even, you know, the post-match stuff that Salah did. Another manager could have got tied up in that and caught up in it and emotionally involved and his ego
imagine it being Mourinho or something.
Yeah,
like,
he'd have made a big deal of it, wouldn't he? Whereas Klopp's just gone, yeah, he's got a cob on. Of course he has. Of course he's got a cob on. I haven't been playing him and he's been shit. That I wouldn't expect anything else. I'm not arsed. In the comments, Jaffa is asking, is it time to let it go? Yeah. And I'm combining that with another comment which mentions that Tierney was bloody terrible yesterday. Agreed. He there was from what I could see, and I was the other end of the pitch, but it looked like a good shout for a penalty. Also, there was one where Salah goes through, and again, it looked like to me, I haven't watched it all back, it looked like to me that a defender puts a tackle in and it goes out for quite an obvious corner and he gave a goal kick. And so the point being, no, I'm not letting it go. I'm never letting it go. I'm going to go on about what happened at Spurs away for the rest of my life because I was there. I was watching it. I was enjoying myself-ish. And we were robbed. We were fucking robbed. So no, I won't let it go. Ever. And don't you let it go either. And it's like, you know, Klopp's press conference, which we're going to come on to talk about, the one he did the other day, not the one post-Spurs, the one pre-Spurs, the boss one, the one that was absolute popcorn. I'm hoping that he doubles down on that and goes even more extreme, you know, for Wolves. Because, like, you know, what are they going to do? Ban him? Like, he's leaving, he's done, he's waving goodbye. So I hope he goes absolutely two-footed into every ref that he hates. Yeah, I'd love him to do like a Rafa. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like with a piece of paper,
like just fucking roll out this big scroll of all the times Liverpool have been wronged and go, this is shit, this is shit, this is shit. He's shit. He shouldn't be a ref. He shouldn't be in the Premier League. I'm bollocks to it what he's gonna do. So Klopp, if you're listening, lads, get it done. I'm here ready for it. So no, let it go, my arse.
Did you see the Gakpo one? I think there's a whole TV series they could put together just with VAR, like audio. That apparently the explanation for the VAR not giving the Gakpo one. Have you seen it back? No. It's just a foul. Do you know what I mean? Like anywhere else on the pitch, like it's a foul, lad puts his foot out, kicks other lad in foot. Like lad falls over. He did
a bit of a flourish, though, didn't he?
But that's
Gakpo.
It. The VAR said something like the fall was like out of sync with out of proportion with the contact, and so you're not getting it. And you're like, that's not in the rules, though, is it? Yeah. There's not in the rules that says if you get kicked in the foot, it's like the Declan Rice one, isn't it? If someone kicks you in the bollocks in the penalty area, it is a penalty because it's a foul, unless you react too dramatically. Do you know what I mean? That's not in the rules. There's no caveat for how you fall. It's just a foul or not a foul, isn't it? Or it should be. But it seems, seemingly, it's not that simple anymore.
Nice one to Mark Browell. Hi, Mark. He says, ice lollies all round, lads, and throws 10 quid in.
Oh, nice one.
It's lolly ice, though, lad. It's not ice lolly in Liverpool, it's lolly ice.
We're very much out on our own, and I know. And I will die on a hill over it. I will die on that hill. The number of places I've been in the world, including where I now live, which is just over the water from where we are, obviously. And honestly, everybody else with their ice lollies, they're just not ice lollies.
Anyway, thank you, Mark.
Yeah,
and if anyone else wants to throw it on the super chat, super like, whatever the fuck it's called, get involved. Salah, Salah was good. Salah scored a goal. Salah assisted a goal. The nonsense over, but still plenty think he will go. Like a lad in front of me just turned round and had a big Salah chat with me like mid-match. You know what I mean? He was like, would you take money for him if he come in? Like, what do you want for him and all this? That's all going on, and I think
Did you give an official he wanted an official statement, did he?
Yeah, I said I'd take 80 to 100.
80, would you?
Yeah.
Would you?
Last season, isn't it? He's only got one more year to go.
I know, but he's unbelievable.
He is unbelievable, but I think if you're getting to the point where you're discussing a fee for him, then he's put his hand up and said, I'm out. So then it's like, well, what are you accepting in the final year of a contract? Not like, I'm fine. I'm more than happy for him to stay. We're going to talk yet again about how good he is. Where am I at? 32. Yeah, I wanted to just go through. So he's 32 next month. Plenty, as I say, I think he will go. My question would be, where would he go and for what money? Because for me, there's only a handful of clubs really that could afford him. You can probably narrow that down again and say, well, you look at who they've got in the ranks and say, well, would like Real Madrid want him? I don't think so, really. It's not going to be anyone else in the Premier League, I wouldn't think. So the list gets shorter and shorter once you start chatting about it. And then Saudi's crap, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, players are going out there. It's a different place now, isn't it? If you like, as a proposition. So when everyone went the first, when they all went en masse and all grabbed the big bags of cash and off they went to play footy in the desert
in front of 700 people.
Yeah, sound. But then they got out there and they didn't enjoy. A lot of them didn't enjoy themselves, and now Jordan Henderson's playing in Holland, etc. Loads of the others seem to be putting their hand up saying, "Can I get off as well?" It's not. So it's sort of been like shown for what it is. Really, it's just a place to go and get a load of dough. It's not a competition of any worth, is it? Let's be honest.
Did you see the Joe Gomez? I was thinking of Henderson and all those lads who went out for the cash when he said this. Joe Gomez did an interview with The Wrap, and in it he said, like, every year he's at Liverpool, he appreciates more what the fans are like, what it's like playing in front of these people and being part of this. And he just dropped into what he was saying. Some of the lads who've left, he's chatted to, we've gone, yeah, it's boss where you are, mate. You need, like, make the most of it.
Really, yeah.
I was just thinking, like, how many times, imagine the group chat where people are like to Jordan, how's it going over there, mate? He's like, I played in front of 700 people today, lads. It's shit.
And that's mad, isn't it? Just to go on another one of my favourite little things, like Prescott Cable's got promoted at the weekend.
Yeah.
They won the playoff against City of Liverpool. And there was over 2,000 people there.
Yeah.
So there's more.
Those lads are playing in front of more.
What's that? Division 8, if you want to put it in those terms. Division 8 of English footy, not even pros. There's 2,000 people watching that. And there's less than that watching some of these games in the desert. Why would Mo Salah want to go and get involved in that?
It's not even just that. I can't remember if we mentioned this the other week. I watched the Joshua fight, out in Saudi, and it's a cultural thing. Like, we were laughing watching it. Like, all the people, it's a very small crowd anyway, compared to fighting at Wembley or whatever. But when you just looked at, like, the crowd, right, the ringside crowd, they're all just sitting there, dead polite, watching the fight.
Yeah.
And
I've seen that with the Tyson.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, just like,
they're all just sitting very, very polite, very calm, and you're like, yeah, decorum. Yeah, well done, sir, well done. And you're like, is that what you want to play in front of? Really?
Yeah, it's crap. So, I also wanted to give a shout out to Simon Jordan for once again waffling shit. He called him overrated in the week, which frankly was weird. Red Top Radio at its best, jumping on the spot and then deciding that we'll rewrite history and decide now he isn't very good. I bit because I always bite, and so I put out a tweet from the Late Challenge in the week saying, 200, so it's gone up now, hasn't it? So it's 211 goals in 347 games, 5th all-time top goal scorer for Liverpool. Pre-Spurs, it was a goal every 1.65 games for Klopp. And what did this player come out with? He said, I don't think he's as good as people make him out to be. There's a distinct possibility he'll leave, and he's an overrated diver. Meanwhile, Mo Salah is the first player in Premier League history to score 10 plus goals and provide 10 plus assists in 3 consecutive seasons. He's also only the second player to tally 10 plus in 5 separate seasons in the competition overall, after Wayne Rooney. And then the word that Opta Joe ends with, the way Opta Joe does its tweet, is permanent, as in class is permanent. And Simon Jordan, you have no class. Mo Salah has plenty of it. And I think we, the people that watch him week in, week out for all these years, 7 years, I think we're better placed to decide whether he's any good and how rated or not he should be. 5th top goal scorer of all time in Liverpool history. Overrated.
Do you want a proper...
What a nugget.
Do you want a proper random analogy that popped up in my head as when I was reading through this before?
What?
I was thinking about talking about on the Patreon, but I'll throw it in now because I think it's apt, because I think Jordan's one of these people. I was watching... this is a mad segue, right? Mad tangent. I was watching Sonic the Hedgehog 2 with me stepkids last night.
This is a mad tangent.
Yeah, and there's a bit in the middle of the movie where you're like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, something someone says, and even my stepson, the eldest, was like, what did he say then? And like, we had to rewind it to listen to it, and I was like, it doesn't make any sense in like that scene. So it was like, I reckon they've made a mistake in the movie. So I just quickly searched online, like, for that mistake to see if it is, because you often get mistakes in movies, don't you? And there's pages dedicated to movies. I reckon we could do shows on them. And so I'm just reading through, and it was properly just making me laugh, because like, I'm looking for like a proper mistake in the like a mistake in the middle of the story. There's people who've gone on these threads to put in like mistakes they've spotted, like they're like pulling apart holes in this film, and people are saying things like, in the scene where the FBI agent's there and Sonic throws a grenade, that's not how it would happen in real life. The FBI agent would shout grenade and take cover. He wouldn't just stand there. And then there's another bit there where it says, if there's a bit where Sonic's snowboarding down the hill, and it doesn't, like, that's not what he'd do, because he can run faster than he can snowboard. And I'm watching it thinking, fellas, I think you're missing the fucking point. This is a movie about a hedgehog who's like got super speed and is blue and is man size. Like, it's not meant to be realistic. Do you know what I mean? It's not like every scene of it.
So what have we got here from talking about Mo Salah?
Because I think Simon Jordan, when he's not talking this shit, is one of the people typing those things on Reddit and threads.
Maybe, yeah.
So he's watching movies going, that's not realistic. He'd have been able to run and pick up that thing. My dad used to do it watching movies. Car would like spin and blow up, and he'd go, that's not what would happen to that car. It'd just break. You're like,
it's not meant to be real.
It's not yet. It's not meant to be.
I mean,
I think he is. Even when you look at Jordan, he's like a cartoon character. He looks like a cartoon character, and that's why he's on TalkSport, and that's why he's saying this shit. Yeah,
professional contrarian. Yeah, it was regularly a helmet about the Reds.
And he seems to. Do you reckon he feels to me like he's tried to reinvent himself lately, like as even more of a cartoon character. To try and get, as a few people have done. I think Joey Barton's done a similar thing. It's like, you'll get more clicks this way. And you're like, all right,
it's
but at what price, lads?
I think like over the summer when we're doing, you know, a bit more non-Liverpool, etc. I think we need to revisit the whole Joey Barton thing and just look at it and go, wow.
Another special.
Anyway, a few comments about the lolly ice lolly thing, as always happens when you say these things. SC says lolly ice or lolly ice or ice lolly are both acceptable in Ellesmere Port, which does run that mad mix of being a bit of everything. Ellesmere Port, I used to work there, and like it's a melting pot of all kinds of people, so I can well expect that both are acceptable there. Sorry mate, says Mark, I'm from he's the one who threw the tenner in. Sorry mate, I'm from Blackpool and we invented ice lollies probably. Kit Kat Shuffler says it's ice pops or lolly ices. James says it's lolly ice, you're a wool if you call it ice lolly. Paul says it's Ice Pops in Derry. Someone else says Ice Pops, Canal.
Ice Pops are a specific thing.
On it goes. Well, someone said, yeah, Kit Kat says Ice Pops are the long ones in a plastic wrapper with no stick.
Yeah.
And Paul says that's an ice pole.
An ice pole. We've got a whole show developing.
Which is a new one on me. Well, we'll get back to the Reds anyway. So we've done Mo. We've done Mo getting stick. We've done Mo being class once again. And we've done Mo sort of breaking more records. Someone else who shined on the day was, of course, Elliot. I think he got man of the match off a lot of people. It's 117 games now for the Reds for Harvey. He's got 10 goals. He's got 12 assists. And this was an absolute beauty, wasn't it? It was like he tried one against West Ham, didn't he? Obviously at the bar on that occasion. This one was like almost the most top corner you could get. And it was just it was lovely to be behind that one, do you know what I mean? It was like, you know, he could see what he was going to do, and then he's just executed it perfectly, and it's just right in, ripples the net. Just a lovely goal, wasn't it? And have you seen the picture of I've threw it on the agenda, so you got like Diaz and Endo.
I hadn't seen it, but it's brilliant, isn't it?
They've literally got the hands on the head going like, oh my God.
If I was Elliot, I'd frame that picture. I'd have it in my house. It's brilliant. That.
It's superb,
Do you know the other thing that's worth throwing in as well? Vicario played his part. A top corner screamer is made even better by the goalie being a full stretch. Trying to get to it.
Definitely. I'm not very good at drawing, but when I was a kid, one thing I would always draw is like a 3D goal with the ball in the top corner. And like a keeper where you just see like his nose and his.
I've seen mouth. You draw that. That's mad.
And he just can't make it.
Yeah.
Because that is perfection when the goalie's gloves there, but the ball's in the top corner and a big tall fella just about can't reach it. It's beautiful, isn't it? He was class though, wasn't he? And you know, we said on here before that for some reason Elliot and also another player that played well, Gakpo, they're both players that seem to attract negativity from some of our supporters and from sort of the wider football world. I personally don't get why. Like, I think if you're 21 and you've played 117 times for Liverpool, those things don't happen by fluke, do you know what I mean? And like the people employed to sort of run the club, to pick the team, etc, 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 like they're not getting it wrong if you know what I mean? Like he's quality. Like I just think he's always had the right attitude. He's always, you know, worked really hard. He did all that yesterday, but then he's capable of things like that too. And like I just don't get the negativity around him. I think like he's a young lad, loads of time to get even better, already good. Doesn't let us down, has come on and influenced loads of games as a sub as well and things like that. There's hardly ever been a peep out of him either. You know, he said, I think when people have said, are you a bit of a super sub then? He's gone, well, it's my aim to be in the team, like, which is absolutely fair enough. But he's not like, you know, he's not throwing his toys out the pram or anything like that. No. And he seems to be a regular who's on the end of Klopp hugs as well, I've noticed. You know what I mean? There's always like a little...
he's definitely in Klopp's like favourite lads group, isn't he?
Definitely. And so, you know, if you love the Klopp fella and what he's done, and most people do, I think we should trust his judgment and, you know, trust what you see in that. What's your opinion? Well, he was good yesterday anyway, wasn't he?
Well, he was great yesterday. And I think he played yesterday because Klopp likes him. And you know, with 3 games left, you can just play the lads you want to play, can't you? And yeah, I'll throw in 2 of our catchphrases at once. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and we'll come on and we'll come on to talk about Nunez later. But I think there's a clash psychologically between what fans enjoy watching and what coaches need and what we all need to make a good football team. Yeah. So like, a really good football team, actually, think about it. We used to sing, we all dream of a team of Carragers. Well, a team of Carragers is what you need, within reason, to win a football league. Why? They're consistent, they're reliable, they're steady. Actually, if you just methodically go through a football season and you're consistent, reliable and steady, you're more likely to win big trophies, especially the league. But that's boring. It's like the boxer analogy. Floyd Mayweather is arguably the best pound-for-pound boxer of all time. but he was fucking boring to watch. Why? He's just methodical. Knew how to win fights, knew what to do, knew how to protect himself, knew how to pick the other fella off. But he wasn't fucking flamboyant and knocking people out left, right and centre. Whereas Muhammad Ali was way more popular, but lost way more and was in way more entertaining fights. And I think that's one of the things with this. Like, Gakpo is a very steady footballer, isn't he? And so when he has dips, people pick on him. But he's probably never going to be like unbelievable. But he'll consistently give you 7 and 8 out of 10 when he's in good form and he's confident, which he looks like he is now. He's reliable, and I think that's what Elliot's been. But I also think Elliot's got potential, like that goal and other goals he scored. He's got potential to be more. But I just think that is just generally an issue for footy fans. We want the flamboyance and excitement of a Nunez, but the reality is the flamboyance and excitement of a Nunez isn't going to win you the league.
And probably isn't what they're told to do. This is what we were saying in the pub. It was like, we're having the same conversation about Elliot, and I was saying to the lads, like, I don't get why he's not seemingly rated by a lot of people. Like there used to be a banner, didn't there? Dirk Kuyt works hard. Well, Harvey Elliott works hard, and he's got quality as well. And my mate was saying, he said, but the things he does, the positions he picks up, the places he is on the pitch, he's doing what the manager wants him to do. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It was the same with Curtis, wasn't it? Where, you saw what he was doing for the youth teams and stuff, and he was doing all kinds of madness and tricks that were unbelievable. The manager didn't want him to do that. And so when he come in and he was just a bit more of a sort of metronome, just spraying passes, holding his position, all of that kind of stuff, that's what Klopp wanted him to do. But it wasn't what wasn't what a lot of fans wanted him to do, seemingly. And I just think, with Elliot and Gakpo, if you look at the stats for the season, so far, obviously goals-wise, Mo Salah's top 25, then Nunez 18, then Gakpo. He's tied with Jota on 15, Diaz on 13. And then you've got, Elliot's contributed 4 goals and 9 assists this season. Which given that he's only had 2,600 minutes, that's not bad. It's not bad at all, really. Like for a 21-year-old lad. So I don't really. And on Gakpo, I think he's been playing well for a few weeks now.
Yeah.
He seems to be getting pelters, but I don't think he's getting the same praise. The level of pelters he got when he wasn't playing that well, I don't think he's getting the same level of praise now. Yesterday he scored. He's assisted. I think the header was quite an underrated one as well. Like,
great header.
There wasn't a lot of power on the cross, was there? Do you know what I mean? And so to get that direction on it and beat the keeper, I thought it was a good header.
It's funny, we've seen this over the years, though, haven't we? Like, it was like the point you've just been making a few minutes ago. It was the never-ending Gini Wijnaldum debate. Like the number of people, even when we're winning leagues and Champions League, and people are like, what does he do? He does exactly what the manager wants him to do. That's what he does. Like, he's part of a team. I think loads of footy fans still don't just understand the basic concept that it's a team game and not all the lads on the pitch are going to be or can be the superstar that's scoring goals and doing all the exciting stuff. Like, some lads, it's the carrying the piano thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just going to say.
There are some people who have to carry the piano or be the water carriers, whichever classic line you want to use.
8 men to carry it and 3 who can play the damn thing.
Yeah.
And it will always be that way. Like, it's the same as a team as well. Unless you're like, you've got unlimited wealth, unlimited opportunity to pay the highest wages. Like, your 1 to 11 is not going to be the world's 1 to 11, is it? Do you know what I mean? You're going to have superstars in certain positions, and then you're going to have lads who've come through the system, or lads who are more got the work ethic type of thing. It's always been the way. Like, someone in the comments there's mentioned Milner, mentioned Steve Finnan, and like, just saying like they were the same. Solid, dependable. Little bit of magic maybe now and again, but by and large just sort of always there. 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and I think by and large that's what you're getting from Gakpo and Elliot. It's not always like flair stuff, but they're reliable and they're there. To move on then from those two, I went age-wise as well. I was going to mention that. Elliot 21, Gakpo 24. And on another age point, really, it was good to see Bajcetic back, who we will seemingly always struggle to say his name. I'm going with that version. But, you know, he looked good on the ball, won a few tackles. Nice to see him back. A question for you, because I know where you were at sort of at the start of the season, and I wonder whether you'd rode in a different direction since. I'm talking centre-backs more there. One of my mates has been banging on and still banging on about we need a DM, we need a world-class DM. We haven't got one. You know, Endo's done all right, but he's run out of steam a little bit. And I was like, I feel like no one want to know of this Liverpool, although we are about to have change in management, of course. But I was like, I feel like they'll just go, it's Bajcetic. Do you know what I mean? And we just won't buy one. And he was like, no, we've got to buy one. Like, imagine, you know, and he's going about when Fabinho was at his best. And I totally agree with his point. But equally, I think when it comes to spending money and it comes to, you know, improving areas, will that be, you know, we've got loads of midfielders, haven't we? So will another one come in, or will they just go, it's Bajcetic? Well,
I think it's more likely it's the latter, isn't it? Just because of what we know in history. I've been trying to really like hold myself last week especially, and not go back to the start of the season and be like, I was saying if we did, and everyone, you know, remember all the people shouting at me about like, remember someone shouting at me that like, because I was saying you can't rely on Matip, Canate and Gomez to stay injury free all season, and people were shouting at me about that. Like, someone threw some stats at me about Matip, and I was like, where is he?
Yeah,
he got injured. There we go. Like, Canate, up and down, great when he's great, shite when he's not. Gets injured. We've got a few injury prone players, but I think the big thing coming up, we mentioned this last week, if it is going to be Slot, which all that, I mean, we'll probably talk about this a bit more later. All that's a bit weird at the moment, don't you think? Have you seen the bits of it, like where he's getting asked about it in press conference and stuff, and he's doing this like smiley, like laughing about it, like, oh, we'll tell you in a few. Like, well, it's seemingly clearly him,
it's
unless there's some
that he's agreed
mad,
to him.
Yeah,
like
unless there's some mad
you know,
twist.
Lads on the patch.
But if it is him, and if he plays the way he reportedly plays, we're going to change our formation, and it makes a big difference. Like when you talk about Fabinho, and earlier in the season when I was saying we do need one, the point was, and Endo's been great, and it's important we give him credit, and Bajcetic was great last year, but they're not Rodri. And they're not Declan Rice.
Yeah.
And the reality is that's what you're up against. Like, Rodri is an unbelievable footballer. Unbelievable. Even as you were talking then, and we're saying about, you know, these different players, and some of the water carriers, and some carry the piano, and some play it, and all the rest of it. That when you're a team like Man City, you seemingly get more of the lads who can do both. And Rodri's contribution to football matches is off the charts, and Declan Rice has become that player as well since he's gone to Arsenal. So if we were still playing the same formation, I'd be with your mate. I'd be like, you can't not have a 70 to 100 million pound player in that position. And then you can keep Endo as a backup, and you can bring Bajcetic through. But I think if we're changing to 4-2-3-1, it becomes less important to have one superstar there. Because think of the combinations you can play there then. Because you would imagine, well, there's 5 positions that Trent can play coming into midfield then. McAllister can play there, Jones can play there, Endo can play there, Szoboszlai can play there in a 2. So all of a sudden, I'm thinking, but would it add that much to us to spend all that money in that position? But I don't know. It depends. Especially that's where there's lots of unknowns, isn't it?
And like, you know, you mentioned like, you know, my mate was mentioning, you know, I keep hearing people saying, well, like, look what happened with Rice. Yes, aren't. It was £105 million.
Yeah.
And it's like, so do you think Liverpool are dropping that? And it's like, well, they were going, you know, mate was saying, well, they were going to drop that on Caicedo though, weren't they? And I was like, yeah, but they've since spent money, and they will no doubt, you know, the next manager will have a say on, and Edwards will have a say on where the money's going to next. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I'm no doubt these are going to be things we're going to be talking about in the weeks and months ahead. Kwanzaa's another one. Like, I really like Kwanzaa now. Like, I think, you know, he's obviously he makes the error at Old Trafford, and you're like, oh, lad. But then, like, he's bounced back and then some, hasn't he? From that, like, you know, like that could you know, destroy a weaker man, if you like, in terms of doing something so high profile in such a big game and all that. I thought he was good again, and like, so he's another one, isn't he? Where you're like, I mean, look, Matip's out of contract. alongside Thiago and alongside Adrian in the summer. And I just can't see them giving another deal to Matip. I like him. I think he's boss. I think he's a great centre-half. I love it when he brings the ball out. I like that he's a bit mad and gangly. And I'm always going to remember the moment. Remember when he kicked off and started running and pointing and all that. Absolutely love all that. But I just don't think it adds up, does it? You know, he's made of poppadoms, like,
yeah.
And it's like, you know, you can't plan for anything with him as your regular centre half.
Well, not even as him. I've said this before, but I had a mate years ago said you can't have squad players who are injury prone either, because your squad players, you need them to be available when your first team players get injured. So if your squad players are injured as well, what's the fucking point? And I think this is, I've banged on about this for a long time now. Like if I owned a football club, if I was in head of recruitment, I've decided like the number one on my top trumps list of player characteristics, the thing I'd have at the very top is availability. Like, is this fella injury prone? Because even Jota, like, we all love Jota and he's brilliant, but how often is he available? Thiago, perfect example. We brought Thiago in, everyone was dead excited. We've seen him play some football I've never seen anybody else be able to play. But what's the point?
I know.
I don't. What's the point of having a player who is one of the best players I've ever seen who never plays because he's always injured? And we know what it's like as well. You can be technically available for selection, but you take 5 weeks to get back up to speed, and then you've got to get back into the pace. I mean, because even I think Klopp mentioned Batistuta the weekend looked like he was on the motorway on his bike or something, didn't he? On his bicycle, because because getting up to Premier League speed is dead hard when you come back from an injury. So we've seen that with loads of players this year, and so yeah, I'm top of the Matip fan club. I've always loved him, and I think he's great, and it's time for him to go. Quansah, yeah, I think he's done great, well better than anyone could have imagined at the beginning of the season. And also, I think he should be competing for our third or fourth choice centre back with Konate for me. And so
Konate hasn't been playing well for a while.
No, he's dropped, but he had a spell early in the season where he was brilliant, but it was only for a few games. So if someone said to me, you've got 100 million quid to drop anywhere on you in one position, I'd spend it on a centre back. I'd buy a world-class centre-back to pair with Van Dijk, whilst we've still got Van Dijk at his best, give Van Dijk his new contract. But the other thing again, and this is where we're into the realms of the unknown, aren't we? It seems that Klopp has given up on the idea of Joe Gomez as a centre-back. But if you go back a few years, I think you mentioned, I don't know whether it was on a show or off air, you mentioned to me a few weeks ago, someone saying to you, like asking whether he's writing an article or something, could he mention Gomez as a potential centre-back? For England. And we were like, fucking hell, how quickly people forget. He was unbelievable as a centre-back.
There was that big bromance, wasn't there, with Virgil, where they were doing interviews together, and you know, it was like they were like a sort of Keegan and Toshak, but at centre-half type of thing. And and I can remember, like, you know, Aaron Pundit saying like he's one of the best centre-halves in the country and all this kind of stuff.
Got everything. And we
he's
were saying
ended up being more of like a Milner now.
He's become a utility player, but for all we know, like, you know, Slot, if it is him, will come in, look at him and go,
well, he might have lots of different ideas, mightn't he? You know, this is the thing, like, we're all stuck and rigid, and obviously our thoughts always turn to the way Klopp has set up and the way Klopp has used the players. But, you know, there are lots of questions like that, aren't there? Like, what's he going to do with Joe Gomez? What's he going to do with Trent? Is he finally just going to say Trent's a midfielder and Jib playing him on the right? I mean, you know, even yesterday, Trent does some unbelievable stuff in the game. You know, he's playing great balls and all this. But then when Spurs are getting back into it, what are they doing? What part of the pitch do they target?
Of course.
Where's Son getting his joy?
Yeah.
And it's like, how many times? Yeah. Like, could we have a lad over there who could defend? And that, look, like, that is not doing Trent down. But that's not like if you list Trent's skill set and put the things he's best at the top, number one is not dealing with wingers, is it? Do you know what I mean? Like, at number one is, like, you know, absolutely shuts out every winger he's up against. No, he doesn't. It's just not in him. It's not, you know, he's all right at it. He can, you know, there's times where he's been brilliant at it even. I can remember when he got ripped by Rashford, didn't he? And then everyone was, I think we were playing City not long after, and everyone was like, he's going to get ripped by Sane, was it, or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
And he absolutely didn't.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's in his locker, but equally there are times where, like, I think it's almost like he thinks he knows, I should be up there doing this, not here doing that.
Mate, would you be surprised at all if that's not part of his contract negotiations? I'd be amazed if he's had his time with Klopp. It's been brilliant, very grateful, all that. But even that interview he did with Neville the other week, where he was like, "Yeah, I'm about 50-50. Like,
interesting.
I'm interested to see what happens next." Because
Yeah.
now Klopp leaves, and he can say to Klopp, "Mate, you've been great for me. I've won everything under you. You've helped turn me into a world class player." The new manager can come in, and he's taking it. This is the interesting thing, isn't it? The new manager comes in. He's never had Trent as a youngster. He's walking in to take over Trent, who's vice captain and 26 or whatever he is now. And this is another mad analogy to make. I remember years ago, like back when I was a lawyer working in the law firms, and a lad said,
Kobe bingo.
Yeah, doing that. It's for Bank Holiday Monday. We're doing the whole shebang today. I remember a lad saying to me who'd been at the law firm I went into for 10 years, and he said to me, "The best thing you can do, Paul, is do your training here and then fuck off." And I went, "Why?" And he went, "I've seen what's happened to me here." He said, "When you've been a trainee solicitor in a place and you stay there, for all the people who knew you as a trainee, you're always a trainee in their eyes. You never get older."
Yeah.
And it's like with kids, isn't it? Like when you're older and we're the old guys now, we're the middle-aged ones looking at young kids going, "God, I remember when you were 5 and you were..." And kids look at you like, "I'm what, dickhead?" Do you know what I mean? That was 10 years ago. Do you expect me not to grow? And I always remember that because he was right. If you moved law firms, you stopped being a trainee, you stopped being a junior. You came into the new law firm as the main guy who they've recruited. Do you know what I mean? You had some kudos about you. I think it'd be the same with this. As Slot comes in, Trent isn't the young kid anymore who's come through the ranks. Trent is vice captain, one of the best players in Europe, and he's got every right to say, "I don't want to play right back anymore." And I'm sure people will pick up on this, so I'll mention it anyway. It was interesting in that interview, he did refer to himself as a right back. Neville asked him, "Do you see yourself as a right back or a midfielder?" And he said right back, which surprised me. But that could be just because that's the right answer right now, because Klopp's still his manager. I'd be amazed. I had a little rant about this last week, and I think it's going to become my new thing if they keep playing him right back. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of him being criticised for his defending. We don't criticise De Bruyne for his defending. We don't criticise Ødegaard for his defending. Why? Because they're not defenders. They play attacking midfield roles because they're unbelievable attacking midfielders who can control games and do things that other footballers can't do. It's getting to the point where it's just a waste having Trent spending any of his time trying to defend at right back. It's a waste. He's too good for that.
My thing's frozen, so I've no idea if people are still commenting. So soz. But there was loads of ice lolly chat, and that kind of stuff. But it's just spinning at me and not getting involved. So I don't know what's happened there. Oh, I say that. It's coming back on. Here we go. We're back on. Okay. Yeah, a few things that were annoying then about the game. I think we've been fairly positive, and rightly so, because Liverpool won. Liverpool got back to winning ways. It was 4-2, all of that. I mentioned, though, that it was sort of annoying to concede 2 goals in the manner that we did. Also annoying to let Richarlison in. Usual antics from him as well. You know, did you see where he was ushering Elliot off the pitch?
Not bad, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just a blurt, isn't he? But it was a good display from the Kop. I was on the Kop and there was lots of flags on there, well more than usual, rightly so, because it was a flag day organised by the Spy and Kop lads, because it was the anniversary of the standing Kop. So that's what that was all about. And there was some weird snideness, I thought, around this from both people there and also from sort of online as well. So Spy and Kop 1906, for those that apparently don't know, they're a group of young lads, relatively young lads, who basically organise getting those flags on there every match. And you get lots of comments from people who clearly just don't understand what goes into it. It's like, well, Dortmund's flags are up all game. Why aren't ours? Because people don't want them up. People complain. People complain about flags on the Kop. People say I can't see. People go to the stewards about it. All of that kind of thing. And these lads have to put up with that. Do you know what I mean? And like they're always asking for volunteers. They're always asking for people to hold up those flags. If you want to get involved, follow them on Twitter. Look for the call outs. And you just go down to the bottom corner of the Kop over on the Kemlin side. and you can get involved and you can hold up a flag, or you can bring your own. There's lots of like, this group of people should bring my atmosphere to this game. This group of people should bring these flags to the game. But if they dare to protest against ticket price as well, that's not what I wanted, so I'm going to call them for all kinds. Just find all that a bit snide, and gets me down, to be honest. I just think that it's very grim to have the attitude that I can afford football, and therefore anyone else who's coming out and saying something about that, well, bollocks to them, because I think it's all right. I mean, just keep your counsel, like, don't say nothing, maybe, because, these lads are helping to keep our traditions alive. We could be quite easily just another club with just another crowd and just another ground, and it not being anything special. It'll still be Liverpool in name, it'll still be Anfield in name, but it won't have the flags, the banners, the songs, the shouting, the passion and all that kind of stuff. These lads are working hard to keep that alive, and the snideness is unnecessary and out of order. And on the subject of snideness, Nunez has done a very modern thing. We are, old men, really, aren't we? Let's be honest. And I think a player removing all of his recent Liverpool pictures off his Instagram, as you are now, makes you smile as an old man.
Do you know what I'm laughing at? I'm picturing saying to me granddad who fought in World War II, he's taking all his pictures down off Instagram. And my granddad going, what? What are you talking?
It just feels really inconsequential, doesn't it? And just sort of like a bit so what?
It just sums up the modern world, doesn't it? But he's gone home last night with his knickers in a twist over whatever, and he's done that. Yeah. And everyone's on it.
And everyone's seen it, everyone's on it, everyone's onto everything, aren't they? They notice if you like something, they notice if you follow something, and it becomes a story and it grows legs and off we go. And look, he'll know that it will get this reaction. It's a little bit like the Salah thing, saying that, there will be fire and all that kind of stuff. Like, in the modern world, the way the scrutiny that you're under, that there will be a reaction. Now, people are sort of equating this move by him to him receiving a bit of stick online. I think I would suggest. I mean, there was moans and groans in the ground. Don't get me wrong. Like, he comes on as a sub, and pretty much the first thing he did was get caught offside.
More people are getting onto that now. I've noticed.
Yeah, and so it's a bit like that happened with Cisse, didn't it? Like, everyone just got to the point with Dribble Cisse where they were like, how don't you understand offside when you're a professional footballer? Yeah. Like when you always get caught offside, stop doing that, mate.
Well, especially when players are dead fast.
Yeah,
it's worse with the fast players.
Yeah. So he does that, and there was a big collective groan. But equally, and I think we've said it before, the support he's had, I think, by and large, has been unbelievable. To the point where, as an old man, as a bit of a Victor Meldrew type person, I find it a bit cringy sometimes, I've got to be honest with you. Yeah. Like, he'll miss a sitter or balloon something, and then it's Nunez, and it's like...
what do you do?
For what?
Yeah.
So I actually think he's been well supported, and if there are a few clowns online that give him stick, maybe, he needs to stop and think about, well, okay, that's them, but there's definitely people that have supported me loads. And even sort of within like the fan media, fan journalism, whatever you want to call this world, there's been plenty of stuff there as well, haven't there? I think we've been, relatively fair about him. I think we've said that there are times when he's annoying, that there are times when he misses sitters, there are times when he should score a goal and doesn't score a goal, and yesterday was another one of those. He's got a really presentable chance. He's one-on-one with the goalie. He's Liverpool's record signing. He's a goal scorer, etc., etc., etc. And he doesn't score. And he doesn't do anything special with the finish. He doesn't go round the keeper. He doesn't try and lift the ball. It's just sort of straight at him. And too many of his finishes at crucial stages of matches are that. And that's what sticks in your mind. But, equally, and, this, to go back to sort of, some relative fairness. I mentioned before, he is the second highest goal scorer at the club this season. He's got 18 goals. He's got 13 assists. And look, that's not bad, is it? Do you know what I mean? That's all right. But, if people expect a bit more and if people expect them to take those big chances, I think that's fair as well. And I think, sort of creating this bit of a thing by taking down all those pictures. Look, it's a bit in the Mo Salah realm of last week of it just being a bit unnecessary, isn't it?
Yeah, unless he's been told, which I can't imagine he would have been told after that game with 2 games left, that he's being sold. Edwards has texted him or something. Unless that's happened, I don't understand why he's done it. And to me, I know this is a middle-aged thing, like being arsey with young footballers. But again, something I'd be looking for if I was a manager. It's not robust enough. If you want to succeed and be the very best in the world in modern football, in modern life, do you know what I mean? If you want a public persona, if you want to be in the public realm, and I heard someone mention this the other day, and I thought it was interesting because you and I have defended the whole joke to get paid all this money thing so many times over the years, and I still do. And there is the counter argument to that, which is, yeah, but there's a reason you get paid a lot of money, mate. Like, there are downsides to getting paid all that money. And some of those are, you're going to get shit from people. You're going to get criticised. Do stop crying about it. Like, so what? Exactly what you said. If that is because, and we're all in the realms of speculation, but if that is because some people have given some shit online, I don't get it. You have been supported way more than most of the footballers we ever see. Look at Gakpo. You were talking about him before. Gakpo doesn't get his name sang, and he's contributed. He's doing well. He's had his ups and downs, but he's nowhere near as frustrating as Nunez. And I think it's frustrating, and I think it's interesting. But again, you can speculate because you don't know why he's done it. But I think that's the thing for me. When they do something like that, they know what they're doing. He knows it's going to get a reaction. Yeah. And it's a bit like this. We criticised Salah last week for the fire comment. He didn't need to make that comment. He could have just kept his mouth shut.
He's shown that level of like sort of, the emotional thing that, that it gets to him. He's done that's. We've had that before with him, haven't we? I think it was recommended to him to sort of get off social media, wasn't it? At a previous point in his Liverpool career. We
saw it on the pitch early in his career, didn't we? Yeah. Like reacting for it. And look, we've had plenty of emotional players in the past, and we've seen it at other clubs, and there's that element of you don't want to take that out of them. But things like this, I just think they're unnecessary distractions.
Yeah, I mean, someone in the comments, I don't know if this is true or not, just suggesting like, there's stuff about his wife and, and all like, stuff like that. There are unfortunately like absolute rats who exist on social media who exist only to get a rise out of people and just go to any extremes to get that.
Yeah, but it's just deleting your Liverpool pictures suggests that's just a Liverpool thing.
Well,
it's not.
That's where it doesn't look great, isn't it? I mean, someone was saying there, like, could have just took his Instagram down full stop if he wanted just to sort of
this is my thing. Statement. Do you know if you don't, and I think this about everything online, right? Do you know if you don't want to have this shit thrown at you, if you want no risk of anyone saying bad things to you online, don't have it. Yeah. Because there's no way of controlling what everybody else does.
Interestingly, like that, and I didn't sort of know we go where we've ended up with this. I got an email today, and it's sort of like relevant to this. So you'll know who he is. Mark Manson.
Yeah.
The is it him who wrote "Sort Art and Not Giving a Fuck"? Yeah. So he does an email, newslettery thing that you can subscribe to, and it just has little snippets in and all that. Mm-hmm. And the one that came through today, and it took my interest because I thought, to me, this is the title of the email is "Be Impossible to Offend," and I was like, oh, that's got me interested. I'll read that later. Yeah. But I've just opened it just because we're talking about, because this Nunez could do with this newsletter maybe. So he says, one of the most beneficial traits in love and in life is being nearly impossible to offend. He's put an Eleanor Roosevelt quote in, which is, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent, which is a good one, isn't it? And then obviously goes more into it and is basically saying, if you feel inferior in any part of life, why have you let that happen? You're making, he said, you can make a conscious choice to stop being upset or offended. Let me know how it goes. So yeah, something, I might have a go with that myself. That doesn't mean try and offend me now and send me loads of shit to test the theory.
If you want, and we can do it with everybody, I'll take everybody. We'll do a TLC training in the summer when there's no footy, and I'll show you what I do to like. I literally train myself now to do what, because I love Mark Manson and I'm on his mailing list and get all that. And, but it ties into loads of stuff I've done over the years, and because I've even heard the likes of Joe Rogan go like, "Oh, you just don't read the comments." Like, you can't read the comments.
It's impossible that though, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm like, so I went the opposite way. So it's all technically, right? This is technical coaching stuff now. It's all shadow work, right? So you just find out the things that poke you and that annoy you and sort out what that is. And then every time you've sorted one out, it clears another one. So I'll just read through the comments on our YouTube now and I'll laugh at most things. And every now and then I'll come across one that makes me go, oh, bastard. And whenever I find that one, I'm like, okay, sort that out. Because as soon as I sort out whatever's behind that, it's one less thing that bothers me. So then most of the time, people can say whatever they want to me. And when I got that email off Mark Manson, I was like, I've done a pretty good job at that. But it's just like training. You've got to train yourself to be like, I'm what? It doesn't matter. But that's what this whole book's about.
Yeah, well, I'd like to do that. That would be good. Let's do that in the summer, definitely. Because, I mean, we should probably say, shouldn't we, that, you know, across the summer as football sort of, I mean, I say that it doesn't stop. I think probably dies down is a better phrase. There's always stuff to talk about. There's going to be the new manager. We're going to be linked to all players. There'll be, you know, who's going, who's leaving, who's staying, who's coming in, all of that stuff. We'll have all the slot stuff. There'll be loads of slot chat, no doubt. There'll be, you know, summer tours, blah, 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 blah. But I think it'll give us a chance again to return to doing, like, you know, some stuff that is non-footy. So you've got stuff that you'd like to hear us talk about, start sending that over, email us, tweet us, all the other various ways you can get in touch. I like this from Anthony Boylan, who's put, the perfect response is the Turkish phrase, wolves don't concern themselves with the barking of dogs. That's nice, isn't it?
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, very good, that. Yeah. We've got loads more to talk about, but I think we're around about the hour mark, are we? Yeah, I'm getting nods, so I think we're pretty much there for the free show. I was out with Stu Wright yesterday.
How is he?
He's all right, yeah, but he said he's annoyed by the fact that we started like ending shows mid-shows and saying the rest is over on Patreon.
How are we doing his head in?
And I was like, well, unlucky, mate. You know what the answer to that is?
Is he not subscribed?
No.
Cheeky bastard.
So the answer to that is, Stu, and anyone else out there, if you want to hear the rest of the chat, come over to Patreon, because the next show will also be live, so you can carry on watching if you're a Patreon subscriber. There's a free trial option there too. And in that next part, what have we got on the agenda? We're going to talk a little bit about Spurs and about how they did, a little bit about Postecoglou. What we're going to talk a lot about is Jurgen Klopp and the perception of Jurgen Klopp and the characterisation of Jurgen Klopp, because he did a belter of a press conference pre-Spurs. There was loads of good stuff in there. But then, as ever, it's presented in a certain way by certain people, and I think a lot of it's wrong. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about him being sound, because he's been sound in one of his other press conferences as well. We're going to talk about that even in his second language. He comes out with just belters all the time, doesn't he? Like, some of his quotes are unbelievable. Imagine us going to Germany, managing a leading football club, and on a weekly basis coming out with the right words week after week after week, which is exactly what he does. He's unbelievable. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that as well. And if we get there, I was going to throw a little bit of non-footy stuff in, but we'll see how we get on. The non-footy stuff was going to be small wins in life, because I'm cracking on with a bit of walking again. I did Pendle Hill at the weekend, and I'm aiming towards Ben Nevis. So I'm keen to know about people's walking chats, but we might not reach that bit. But yeah, if you do sign up to Patreon, you can literally jump in on YouTube like you're watching this on YouTube. You can carry on watching essentially this chat. You can also listen as a podcast, which comes out later. You can watch the video whenever you want as well, and you get access to the archive and all that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, I need a big brew. I was on the ale yesterday and my mouth is dry. So that is the end of this week's free show, TLC 66. Thanks to all of those who tuned in and watched it live. If you're watching later, thanks to you too. If you like what we're doing, share it, shout about it, post online, say it's decent this. There was a really nice comment in there that I noticed that I meant to read out earlier, and I'll just try and fill while I'm trying to find it dead quick now. Can't find it, oh well, never mind. But basically, whoever it was, he was dead kind, and he basically said, I really love that, you know, you bring sensible fan journalism to what has been a bit of a tough time, the way it all turned out for Klopp this season. So thank you for that, mate. And if you think things like that about this show, do say that in places where people can see it, because we can bang on about, you know, you should come and watch our show or listen to our show, but ultimately you're better at saying it than we are, because we're gonna say that, aren't we? Should I tell that story?
I was just gonna say, tell that story.
So
it's brilliant.
I was out Saturday night, just to wrap up. I went down to Smithdown Road to the Handyman supermarket, watched some great bands there, watched Tramp Attack, watched Edgar, watched, what the other band called? Oh, I can't remember, sorry lads. But while I was at the bar in there, a fella said to me, you're that lad off that podcast, aren't you? Blah, blah, blah. Love the show, keep it going, nice one and all that. He was dead kind and dead nice about what we do, so it's right to you, mate. But a fella stood by us, heard the chat, and went, oh, podcast, yeah, what is it you do? And I said, oh, you know, just chat shit about footy, really. And he was like, yeah, marketing's not your strong point, is it, lad? Which, it's fair to say, it's not. So do the marketing for us, please. But yeah, tune in again next week. We'll be back to... Oh, hang on, no. I was going to say we'll be back to the usual time.
Tuesday next week.
We're doing it Tuesday next week, yeah, because we're playing Villa away on the Monday night, aren't we? So we felt like obviously a show, literally when people are sitting down to watch the match or go into it, didn't really work. So it's moved to the Tuesday next week. So we'll be live on Tuesday, round about 5 o'clock. So get tuning in for that. Sign up, have a go with the Patreon. Enjoy your bank holiday. See you next week.